G'day ladies and gentlemen, today I'm going to show you how, why and when to use functions inside of Unreal Engine blueprints in a completely unscripted take. That way we can solve the problem together, as I think it's a much better way to teach and to learn Unreal Engine blueprints. So let's take a look at some code that I've written here, well, blueprints, whatever you want to call it. So these are a bunch of hotkeys along the keyboard. Keys 1 through 9 and key number 0. If you take a look down here, I've got one for every key. And they do basically the same thing. They're quite lucky. Noisy bird. So, how can we implement a function in here in a way that makes everything more efficient? That's why we use a function, to make sure it's more efficient. When to use a function is when you've got almost identical blueprint nodes or code, whichever. You want to reuse that function. So it's it. The description's the name as well. So we're doing this check here. We're feeding it this name variable, and we're also setting this variable here. So what we want to do here is start by creating our function, and we're going to name it hotkey interaction. So hotkey interaction. And we need to put a couple of inputs into our function. So our item in slot type is the first one. So back into here. Item in slot type. And that is a name. And we're going to right click and we're going to turn that into an array. And our other parameter is an integer for the slot to equip. And we also have this key here, this 0, which is part of the array here. And as you'll see, it matches up to the keys here. So we don't have to feed it a variable from the outside. We just have to make sure we can set it in the same fashion. So back into our function. And we're just going to call this one integer input. It's only one R in integer. And that is of type integer. File save. Now, we're going to bring our function in. Drag it in. And let's just hook that one up there. So, feed the variable in. And we can disconnect this node here. And as you can see, the integer input matches up. And we are going to do the same thing that we were doing here. We're going to get a reference, get a copy of the array and our integer input. And we are going to check if it's equal to the name of weapon. Make sure your spelling's correct when you're using a name variable. And just like in the event graph, I'm going to add a branch. Connect that one up there. And set slot to equip. We can just copy this over. Alrighty, so I'm going to set that value. That'll be the same as our energy input. And let's just tidy that up a bit. And we're going to call our function of equip weapon inside of the function. Alrighty. The exact same functionality. So now I can get rid of all this. And for all of these guys here, all I have to do is copy this along here, plug it into there, and so on for the rest of my blueprint nodes here. And say if I wanted to add some functionality here, like say if it was equal to the type armor. All we have to do set it up like so. And we can call this equip weapon event from here. And this chain could get really, really big. And if we were doing that inside of the event graph, our event graph will get really big really quick. But with this, the use of using a function in this case, you save yourself a lot of time down the track, and it just leaves your event graph looking so much cleaner and tidier, and gives you a functionality, hence the name function. And that's it. If this has helped you out, please leave a comment down below, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Have a good day. Until the bum.